Good evening, and welcome back to I Saw You in That Thing I Saw You In, the podcast where we sit down with New England-based actors to discuss the craft of acting, projects they've done, things they've learned along the way, tales from the set, and tips on how to get your foot in the door. As always, our show is sponsored by the Parody News Network. Every week, PNN takes aim at a popular movie or TV show and parodies the shit out of it. If you're looking for humor and entertainment, not to mention a break from mainstream news programs, subscribe to the Parody News Network and enjoy watching the news again. Go to youtube.com/Parody News Network to like and comment your little heart out. PNN, your favorite movies and TV shows, satirized for your protection. And so, without further ado, please welcome the lovely and talented Dawn Smith. I feel like we should set the table a little bit for me and for the listeners. So let's start with where you're originally from.
Originally from Centerville, Massachusetts.
Okay. And where is that?
That's down on Cape Cod, here in Massachusetts.
All right. And you're still in that general area?
Yeah, well, I migrated 30 miles or so north to the South Shore to Scituate, Massachusetts.
Okay.
In a little village of Scituate called Humarock.
Would you consider it a sort of a small town upbringing? Was it a rural upbringing?
I would say it's suburban upbringing.
Okay.
You know, it's near the ocean, but, you know, it's not unlike, Danvers, Beverly, Salem, Marblehead. It's the same. Gloucester.
See, those towns I know.
Yeah.
I know those names.
The unfortunate part of people from the North Shore is they think when they get to Quincy that they're at the Cape, which is horrible. But it's true, and it still exists all these years later.
Where's Quincy? I'm just kidding.
There you go.
I know where Quincy is.
Right.
I'm not that far removed from reality. So are there any other actors or performers in your family?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, and that was it may save a question, but my mother was a very active community theater actress.
Really?
At the time, yes. And her brother, Peter, went to Yale Drama School, was an actor, but more, he was a playwright. And so, yes, there was some acting in the family.
Wow. You have an established bloodline. Look at you.
Apparently. Yes.
So now what era would she have been active?
My mother would have been she probably did things in the 1970s and 80s.
Okay.
Locally on Cape Cod through, the theater clubs down there.
Yeah. What would you say was her crowning achievement? What did she what was her big thing?
Well, I'm a bad son for not paying attention because
yes,
I really wasn't paying attention
to
acting at that time, but I remember seeing her play Lady Brockhurst. But I remember reading a review in the Cape Cod Times that said Maureen Smith explodes on the stage as Lady Brockhurst.
Wow.
If I could tell you what play Lady Brockhurst is in, I would.
So
yes, she was a very good theater actress. She was great. She really felt it. She projected it, and you knew who she was.
Wow.
When she was on stage. She was great.
And she got a write-up in the Cape Cod Times.
Yes.
I mean, not everybody gets that.
Well, and by day she was a kindergarten teacher, which I believe allowed her, in fact, I know it did, allowed her to perform every single day.
Sure.
She had Italian day, she had this day, that day, and she'd recruit other teachers and the students to dress up and act out. And, she was just a performer every day, and she was a wonderful woman. And she's passed a while ago, 2009, but her influence I could see on my kids as well, too.
Wow.
Yeah, she was very special.
Did she encourage you toward this?
No, she didn't. But my uncle, who was a playwright and an actor, he lived in New York City, and he would come to visit us on the Cape, and he'd bring some friends with him, other actors, writers, whatever, and they'd hang out, for a long weekend or whatever, and go off and do what they were going to do. Some years went by, a lot of years went by, to my uncle's memorial service when he passed. And one of the women that came frequently to my mother's house, her name was Georgia. She was an actress, and we were at the memorial service. I was with my wife and my son at the time. And she said, "Well, Don, so what do you do now?" And I told her, that I had a business and this was my family. And, and I was kind of expecting her to say, "Oh, that's, very impressive." And she said, "Oh, I'm so disappointed."
You disappointed Georgia?
At a funeral, she said this in front of my family. I said, "Why? Why are you disappointed?" And she said, "We had such high hopes for you that you'd do something in the arts." And I was like, it was like a gut punch to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I kind of sat on that. And then as my kids got old enough to leave the house and go off to college and do stuff, I said, maybe I should not ignore these little callings and try it. And then in 2021, I had a stroke. Just out of nowhere.
Wow.
And I was very lucky to get to the hospital and qualify for and get, and here's my little public service announcement, TPA shot. It's a clot buster. And it's essentially like Drano, and it breaks up any blood clot that's in your body. And I was unfortunate enough to have a couple of blood clots in my brain. So I recovered very swiftly, but you start to have some thoughts of what have I done with my life, what I have not done with my life. And, that acting thing kept coming back. And I'm like, all right, let's go. And it took like a good solid year to be comfortable enough again with memorization, scripts. And then I started, took a couple classes and then started, with the student film scene. And but it was, the stroke and George's comments and not heeding the call.
Wow. One of the themes that I've seen that keeps coming back up in these conversations is people coming to acting later in life, and a lot of the people who do, they have two sort of perspectives on it. One is, I wish I had started sooner, but the other is, this happened when it was supposed to happen for me. Like, I might not have been ready for this. I might not have been in the right place for this financially, emotionally, whatever. But they are enjoying the hell out of it now that they have it as part of their lives, which I think is great. I think it's great. There's nothing wrong with starting as a young actor and doing it your entire life, but finding it later, I think, is much more precious. And not everybody does, but the people who do, the ones that I've talked to, really maybe even appreciate it more, because they never thought they would find themselves on screen. And look at me now. Here I am in this whatever chapter of life, third chapter, fourth chapter, whatever you want to call it. So I think it's great. I love talking to people who came to it a little bit later on, but that's great. So in my research, almost either all or almost all of your credits appear to be film credits.
Yes.
What about commercial work and TV? Are those things that you're pursuing or interested in?
I'm starting to. I am interested in.
Okay.
I'm kind of on the next step to pursue that.
Okay.
So what steps that involves and what I need to do. I'm in the process of doing that. But yes, I'm interested in that.
Okay. What's been your favorite part to date that you've played?
You know, it's a part that I don't think anybody's going to see, which is a bummer for me, for my reel, and for
Humanity.
But there was a film. I had a run of angry white guys. You know, I was
Okay, I can see it.
angry white guy.
Sure.
Older guy, getting pissed off.
Yep.
You know, sometimes I killed somebody, sometimes I didn't kill somebody.
Sure.
It's a lot of that. But there was a couple of last year. I had a run of being either a film producer or a Broadway producer. Right.
Okay.
Broadway producer, I got to do, was fine, but I got to be a film producer in this film called Slick. And I played a character called Marty Caruso, which is kind of an important film producer in town, in Hollywood. And that this young person comes in, young screenwriter, and Marty kind of straightens him out. And it was a good scene. I liked it a lot. But for whatever reason, it dropped off the face of the earth. I would love to have seen how it worked out, but I like them all, you know, which is probably a better answer.
Yeah, that's fair. Tell me a funny story from the set.
I played a bartender in a film called Phantasma. So,
once again, I Saw You in That Thing I Saw You In is sponsored by the Parody News Network. Every week, PNN takes aim at a popular movie or TV show and parodies the shit out of it. If you're looking for humor and entertainment, not to mention a break from mainstream news programs, subscribe to the Parody News Network and enjoy watching the news again. Go to youtube.com/Parody News Network to like and comment your little heart out. PNN, your favorite movies and TV shows, satirized for your protection.
here comes my big situation as the bartender, and you know, it's going great. We've had a bunch of takes, and we're getting down to it, and they want to get a shot of just my hands handing what is a beer can to the woman at the bar. Okay. And when they zoom in on the can, they realize that, you know, there might be some copyright or trademark infringement.
Sure.
So then when you held the can a certain way, there's a white box there was like a white barcode that was on the back that was wreaking havoc with the lighting.
Okay.
So it's like, all right. So you had to have this really like death twisted grip to actually, and it was a pop top can. I'd been using them during the other takes. So I think we started out with like 12 and we were down to one. One can left to get this take right. Okay. And it had to be this twisting move to keep the can out of the camera,
right,
but also get it to the woman in the right motion.
Right.
So we were practicing this motion, you know, probably about a dozen times to get it right and make sure that it was in the frame properly, right? So we're doing it, and all right, it's like, all right, let's go, everybody, you know, gear down. All right, Don, come on. This is it. One take. You got it. We're out of here, right? Turn the can, bring it over, pop the top, and everything comes flying out of the can because it's all shaken up from all the practice. And the director just goes, "We'll fix it in post."
I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. Are you happy and fulfilled here in New England, or do New York and LA beckon?
I think I'm a New England person.
That's what I figured.
You know, I mean, at my age and my level of, I mean, if the opportunities were to come my way, you know, I would certainly pursue them. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm good here for now.
Yeah. The roots grow deep.
Yeah, I mean,
It's I can't imagine transplanting to the West Coast at this stage of my life. So, I've known a lot of younger actors who are like, I'm heading west. I'm gonna shoot for the stars. I'm gonna claim, stake my claim, and that's great. I think if I had come to it at that age, I might have done the same thing because you're fearless. You've got nothing to lose. You don't have a mortgage. You don't have family. You don't have all of that stuff. You can just go. You can just throw everything in your car and off you go. And I also think it's great for younger people to do that because you get to see what a meat grinder LA can be and what a meat grinder New York can be.
Sure.
But, everyone who's been on the show is New England based and they all are happy here.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. Accepting that you are still at the beginning of the adventure. If you could give one piece of advice to aspiring actors who are just starting out, what would it be?
Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay.
That's all I could tell you. I can't really give you any other pearls. Ask me next month, right? And I haven't really shaken down a lot of actors. Subtly, the women that productions I've been in share a lot more about, will talk more about acting than the guys. And it may be because you're up for a lot of the same roles. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But, if there's younger people that, this is kind of just an observation. If there's younger people that I'm in a production that, playing people younger than me, you can have a pretty good chat with them about their experiences and stuff. But, people that are of my era, they may have accomplished more already, and it may be just because there's less of them. Mm-hmm. So they may have either found their niche and are working away and it's kind of their craft, or, there's less of them. But I'd just say to do it because if it's in you, it will come out. So if you try it and it doesn't come out, then you can put it away. But if you try it and it comes out, you'll want to get better at, even if you're not good at it. You can tell. I've gone through a projecting phase. Okay. Where you project your lines, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're broadcasting the lines.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, stop. It's being there, being in front of people and camera and trying to get your voice out there, but it's a struggle to find the mechanism to dial it back and just speak like we're speaking now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to internalize a dialogue. So now, just to give you a simple answer, do it, because if you do it, stuff will come out that you'll want to work on, or you'll say, I this isn't for me, and you won't do it.
What if I just want to pursue this just a little bit more. What if you do it and you're terrible and you don't have the self-awareness to know that you're terrible?
That may be going on with me. I'm serious.
That's not where I was going with that. But...
I don't know. No one ever says you suck.
That's true.
I mean, you could be in any project.
That's true.
So,
but you've been cast in a bunch of things. So if you were terrible, your career would have exploded on the launch pad. Logically.
Yeah. The only thing I can kind of, I think all my parallels are to be sport, because I learned a lot about life through playing sports.
That's right? Fair.
So a lot of on your own psychology, because you're trying to develop as an athlete or in your business. And this is like a real actor deep thought. If it's bad, but it might not be bad to the camera.
Okay.
I was in this production, and I've seen this a number of times, and I'm a fan of watching this. I've been in a room in a scene with actors, male, female, doesn't matter. And sometimes they're like, it's like they're not even in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
They're just doing their thing, reading their lines.
Right.
Or acting their lines, not reading their lines. And I'm in it. I'm like, that person's not really doing anything. And then you watch it on camera. It's really good. And it's the camera and how they mastered stillness and the character, the nuances of the character. Like, that's the measuring stick. And that's what comes out. So it's really different. So, like, you could... I pay attention to things, to discussions about actors that I'll see, like, online and various things about, I'm still at a stage where the character may not always be completely compartmentalized in me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have 8 months or 3 months to every day work on the character, right?
Right.
But so you're thinking about pieces of this character while you're performing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if any actor's best work comes out like that. They got to just go.
Okay.
Right? So I think you would know you suck when you forget your lines.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's a good measuring stick. Yep.
And you completely whiff on the tone of the scene.
Right.
Which probably means you weren't paying attention to it.
Right.
I may have experienced that. I may have experienced it.
Okay.
But
you got cast in other things.
I did.
So there's something. There's something there.
Until they tell you no.
Right.
My family's. We were just going over. My daughter's pretty good about. She has one of the things I'm not a big fan of is, and you have wonderful facility here, so you could bang out an audition in minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Minutes. Well, I'm constructing some of that. And so she's helped me with some of my auditions, which is great because she'll just film them and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And I did one the other day I've done most of them on my own, but I did one the other day. And I said, "What do you think of this?" She goes, "Oh my God, the lighting's so bad. You look like, you're going to die in the next, 3 years." I'm like, "I don't see that." She goes, "Oh yeah." She goes, "Let me show you this." I'm like, "Oh wow, you're real different." So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that's bad or good or
right.
what.
Well, it's all learning, right? It's all a learning process.
To say, probably a seasoned actor who's listening to this or, put their hand on my shoulder or someone like me and say, it doesn't matter. Do what you think is the right thing for the character and the part.
Mm-hmm.
The director will decide whether it's good or bad.
Mm-hmm. That's true. There's only so much that's in your control. And then the rest of it is luck and fate and circumstance and all that good stuff.
I agree.
And then the final question, what's next for you?
What's next is finding more projects.
Okay.
Because I just had basically a life change event, so I have more time to pursue things.
Oh.
So the idea is to get myself and my availability out there, audition for more things, and go from there. A student film I did in December or late November I think they just screened it last night for the first time. And then I've been doing, because of where I live on the South Shore, these groups may exist on the North Shore, but there's some radio theater that I've been involved with, and I've been involved with a couple of different groups, one through the Talking Information Center, and the other is called the Ledgers Actors Workshop, and they do radio dramas or comedies, usually one a month, and I've been very fortunate to be part of that group. So it keeps you fresh, working in everything's voice, which is something that I haven't really pushed, but I should do more of. Mm-hmm. So it's bring the exposure level and the opportunity to audition for more things. That's next, and then we'll see where the chips fall.
All right. Sounds good.
It's been wonderful, actually. Great opportunity.
This?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Cut it if you want.
No, that's gonna be the teaser. I'm gonna have that everywhere. Well, I appreciate you coming today. I appreciate you braving the elements. Just so everyone knows, we're recording this as a snowstorm is happening. So that's New England for you. But thank you for appearing. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you all again on I Saw You in That Thing I Saw You In. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire podcast, and for that, thank you. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave us a review on Spotify. See you next week for another installment of I Saw You in That Thing I Saw You In.